doctor's appointment, you're not able to be here today. Sharon is here representing herself, and I am here representing myself. Old business, campaign finance report, so,
Okay, so I have been in constant contact with the state, making sure that we're complying with state law and making sure that the things are done correctly. At our last meeting, we spoke about the 3 campaign finance reports that I did not receive on time. The 2 of those were addressed as being deceased and no fines that we assessed. The one was, the board, well, I'm just gonna read the letter because it's pretty. On January 26, 2021, the Carroll County Election Board met to discuss 2 CFA 4 reports that were late and 1 CFA report that was late and defective. The 2 that were late were not assessed any fines since both candidates, Will Davis and David Lambert, were deceased at the time the report was due. Just an update on that, I have received those reports from their family members, I got them a couple days after the meeting. The report that was late and defective was from candidate Josh Plew. The board voted to assess a $100 fine for Mr. Plew's delinquent report, which is for 2 days at $50 per day per IC code 3-9-4. The board directed me to send a certified letter, I guess I should have put who me is, but to Mr. Plew explaining our findings and a request to file an amended report since the one submitted had the wrong reporting period and was not signed by Mr. Plew as stated in IC code 3-9-4-16 subsection B. Per that same IC code, the candidate has until noon on the 5th day after receiving notice of the defective report to submit an amended report with no further penalties. After that, there is a $10 per calendar day fee up to 10 days. Amanda Plew did sign for the certified mail on January 29th, and I have that notification here with the letter that was sent, which I believe I sent the letter to. Did I send the letter that I sent to Josh to you in an email? And Sandy, I thought I did, but I may not have. I mean, I can pass around what I sent, so that so you can see what I actually sent. As of February 12th, 2021, Mr. Plew has not paid the $100 late CFA 4 report fee and has not submitted the required amended CFA 4 report. So an additional $100 fine has been assessed. According to IC code 3-9-4-18, the board may order the auditor to withhold from the candidate's county council paycheck the amount of the civil penalty, which is $200, until it has been paid in full. Mr. Plew has blatantly disrespected the board's decision as well as continuing to defy state law. This isn't something that we've mandated, this is the law. That's I have personally saw Mr. Plew in the courthouse 4 times since the letter was received. The board now, and this is just, again, going off of what I have been told by Valerie at the state level, that we now direct the auditor of Carroll County, Beth Myers, to begin withholding payments from Mr. Plew's wages immediately and continuing through until the $200 civil penalty is paid in full. And that is, with that, let me see, that is back to that IC code 3-9-4-18 subsection E. Says the election board may order the fiscal court officer to withhold the payment from the person's paycheck. This only works if the elected official, if it's an elected official, but it sounds like this is the case. So that is, per Indiana code, that is the next step. I did prepare the letter so that if the board wanted to move in that direction, then we can get this. I don't understand the lack of respect.
So, have you spoken to him?
that is not, I've spoken to him through the letter.
Okay,
He has not addressed,
So,
it's
and-
not, I am not to reach out to him, that is what I have done.
I'm not asking, I'm not saying that was your job, I'm just.
Yeah, no,
So he didn't specifically say, I'm not paying that.
he did not.
Okay, so we need to change the language in this letter, because he didn't blatantly do anything, because he didn't say that he was defying our order, he just didn't do it. So, you may consider that blatant, but a blatant,
He's disrespecting the board's decision by not acknowledging it.
I don't even know that I'd go that far.
Okay,
We need to be respectful. We don't know the situation, because nobody's talked to him. He did contact me via Facebook, like a couple days after the meeting, and he asked when the next board meeting was. I told him it was last Tuesday, the next one was in April. That's all that was said. He didn't say I'm not paying it. I assumed it was about this, but he didn't say that. He just asked when the next board meeting was.
okay,
So,
so what would you like corrected?
just, let me read through it. I think we just need to tone down the language.
Well, he is in direct violation of state law at this point.
You could say that Mr. Clue is currently violating the IC code, and something to the effect that therefore the board is going to direct the auditor to withhold the funds.
So, take out has blatantly disrespected this board's decision as well as continuing to defy state law, and replace with currently violating IC code, and put both of them, since there's,
I just feel we need to be respectful. Unless he blatantly told you to your face,
I think
I'm
he's
not
been
paying
given
this.
ample, I mean, he could have come in and asked, he could have come in and, I mean, reissuing that amended report, it was one page, that he has to check a box that says amend, change the date, and sign it.
so don't get me wrong, he's wrong.
12 seconds.
He's wrong. It should have gotten done,
Okay,
but I think our response shouldn't be punitive as in language.
okay,
We need to just, our job is to follow the election law ourselves. And so, if it allows for us to go to the auditor to have that withdrawn, we can, but we don't need to be mean about it.
okay, so I will change that sentence to now read, Mr. Clue currently is violating IC code 3-9-4 and IC 3-9-4-16 subsection B, and then leave that sentence and then go into the next, the board now directs. Okay. I'm not sure that sentence makes sense.
You might even say,
Is still currently violating, is,
Mr. Plume has failed to submit payment as directed by the board, and therefore the board, sorry,
I can put this up on the
I
internet.
can speak faster than you.
oh,
I can actually type as fast as I can speak, but I know you're right.
Mr. Clue has failed to submit payment and the required amendment.
Right.
Per, and then put the IC codes.
Correct. Now, have you seen any of the codes, or has the state given direction? Do we have an avenue to get him to submit? Because it needs to be submitted.
I think eventually if we do this part and it doesn't get submitted, I believe I would be back in contact with Valerie, And I don't know if that goes now that we submit a report to the prosecutor's office for criminal charges. I don't know what, there's only certain things that I can see. And there's different, because he submitted it, that takes the felony aspect out of it.
He's
But
just
in-
fixing the defective. Because
Right.
it, now did it, at one point you said when he signed it, he
He came-
didn't change the date.
Right, he came in the next day and signed a copy of the original.
Okay,
Because once the original is filed, you cannot make any alters to it. You don't touch it. So I printed off the one from the email, file stamped it, and then I made a copy of that one. And I file stamped that one with the notation at the top that says copy of original. And that's the one that he signed.
okay.
Because he came in to sign, I can't deny him the right to sign.
Yeah, I understand
And then,
that
yes,
part,
he-
but in
yes.
this letter, it also says that the
Yes.
reporting date was wrong. So
Right,
not only did he not change the date
When he
of
signed
the
it.
signature, the reporting date was incorrect.
that is
Which
correct.
totally, I mean, I could almost let him not changing the sign date go.
Right, but the reporting period is there for a
Yeah.
particular reason,
But the
so
form's not even valid if it doesn't have the right reporting.
if it doesn't have a signature, it's actually not valid. That's, that,
Well,
it
even
has
with
to
the
have,
signature, if it doesn't have the right reporting date, then it's not the right form.
correct. Yeah, there's lots of different branches off of it being defective.
Because we don't really know if the date was wrong, we don't know if those figures are right either, because they may have
That
used
is
the wrong.
correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah, unless you go page by page and see if it fell within the actual dates, which I'm not. Typically, I don't do that, I don't look at, we take the report as presented, and it's up to the candidate whether or not it's accurate or not. We don't, oh, you didn't put a, you don't have a dollar sign here, we don't.
Yeah,
We don't
there's no
investigate
reason
that,
in it.
no.
So I'll entertain a motion to, we can't sign this one because we're gonna change the wording, but for the sake of voting on this,
And I can go, I've still got it on the computer, it would take me just a handful of minutes
okay.
to update it.
Why don't we just, recess for now, and then you go make that change, that way Roger's already here, we don't have to call him back, because Sandy won't be able to do it later, because she wasn't here to vote.
Okay,
For the record, that was not mistaken.
you did convene, or,
Well, he called me 4 times in a row earlier.
You guys are recessed?
Yes, just until Sharon gets back
Well,
on.
I don't know how to do that on here.
Can you not pause it? Or you could just let it run to see if we talked about business.
Well, I'm gonna sit here to see if you talk about business. It's like it's another whole video, if,
Oh.
I'm not too savvy here.
Are you live streaming it, or is it just recording? Okay.
Again, not too savvy. Although I have live streamed it, but only to Facebook.